Joining me now, Congresswoman Sherry Bustos, Democrat from Illinois, with a welcome to you. Let me ask you your reaction to the Postmaster General's testimony yesterday. How'd you interpret it all?
Well, I wish the Postmaster General would understand who his bosses are. They are the American people, the 330 million American citizens who receive hundreds of millions of pieces of mail every single day, Monday through Saturday. Those are his bosses, and his job is not just to say he's going to pause this dismantling of literally of the Postal Service. It is not enough. So what we're voting on today, and what Carolyn Maloney is on the floor right now talking about, is that we go back to January of 2020 and put things back to where they were. Now that includes these blue corner mailboxes that we've been used to seeing for generations. That includes putting back in those sorting machines that have been dismantled, the machines that sort 35,000 to 100,000 pieces of mail every single hour. And it means making sure that as we move forward, that this guy, this Postmaster General, understands that the vast majority of veterans who receive medication receive it through the U.S. Postal Service. And if we can't do right by our folks who have served in the military, then what in the heck is wrong?
Congressman, I know that this week you held a meeting with some local postal carriers from your district. Does what they are telling you match up with what you heard from the Postmaster General? And if not, what are they saying?
It does not match up, and let me tell you how it doesn't match up. These folks who deliver the mail, and I want to give you a little bit of background here. My congressional district that I serve, 85% of the towns I represent are 5,000 people or fewer. Okay?
Right.
60% or 1,000 people or fewer. We have one county that in the entire county are 6,600 people. So we're talking about a lot of smaller towns that rely on the Postal Service for their mail. So that said, what these letter carriers and those who represent the Postal Service from throughout my 14-county, 7,000 square mile congressional district told me is that they are told that they have to go out first thing in the morning. It doesn't matter that if by the end of their shift there is leftover mail, that just sits there. And then they start that again the next morning. And if they're not finished, if they can't get finished with that in their shift, then it just sits there. The sorting machine that out of Palatine, Illinois, that serves the northern part of my congressional district, that's where they have dismantled these machines. So the mail coming in is slower. There's a day or 2 or 3 slow response to getting the mail to people. And you have people literally who are telling their letter carriers that, hey, I'm waiting for this check, or I'm waiting for this medication, and it's not here. Can you tell me what's going on? So it's those kind of stories repeated over and over again throughout this congressional district in the northwest corner of the state of Illinois.
That has got to be brutal for those postal carriers, because they know their constituents there, those with whom they are working and serving and delivering such vital information. I mean, is it kind of heartbreaking for them?
Oh, you bet it is. So what was said to me, and I think this is really critical to this. 2 of the letter carriers said to me, "This is the U.S. Postal Service," and to which I said, "You're right. It is not the U.S. Postal business. You've got this $1 million plus donor to the Trump administration, or to Donald Trump as candidate, and to other Republicans, literally millions of dollars in donations, who's a businessman who had nothing to do with the Postal Service until just a couple of months ago, and he's running this place." And keep in mind also, literally of the hundreds of thousands of postal employees, many are veterans themselves. And you know, if you're a veteran, that means you care deeply about your country. You care deeply about serving others. And this is what makes up the Postal Service. So you bet it's heartbreaking. You know, if I can tell you a really quick story, we sent out a survey to residents in my congressional district asking them about, you know, the most important piece of mail that they've ever gotten, or one that they remember and that meant something to them. We heard everything from a guy who the most excited he ever was when his decoder ring came through the mail. And it reminded me of Ralphie from the Christmas Story, and you know, running up and figuring out that it was about Ovaltine. But from that to a guy who said the best piece of mail he ever got was from his friend who was serving in the Middle East in the military. But, you know, and I got thinking about that myself. And for me, as a kid, I was always sending in those box tops from my cereal and couldn't wait for whatever it was that I would ask my mom every day, did we get my present yet?
Yeah.
Or that letter you got when you were accepted to your favorite college, or,
right.
you know, whatever it is. There's this deep emotional connection to the Postal Service, and it is deep. And I could not believe, we heard from about 1,000 people. We've heard from 1,000 people. And if you're maybe a member of Congress in, say, New York City or LA, maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a big number. It is an issue that has struck a nerve, and people are very emotional about what the Trump administration is trying to do in the middle of a pandemic, at a time when we're about ready to go into one of the biggest vote by mail and absentee voting elections in the history of our country. And we better get this right. And I think that the notice to this Postmaster General, who's going to appear before the House committee on Monday, is, you know what, be honest with the American public. And he owes it to everybody, not to members of Congress, but to the public, about why in the heck he's doing what he's doing right now in the middle of a pandemic.
Yep. Illinois Democratic Congresswoman Sherry Bustos, I am very appreciative of your stories, your emotional attachment to all this, and I'm sure that your constituents are as well. So well done for sharing that with us.
Thank you so much.